All right. Welcome. I'm Adam. If we've not had the privilege of meeting, I'm so happy to be here. Who has a Bible? I need 3 people that have a Bible, got something, that wouldn't mind opening something up. I got one here. One. Open it up, girl. You got it. Okay, Kellen, I'm going to give you 2 Timothy 1:7 in the New Testament. There's 5 books in a row that begin with T, 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, 1st and 2nd Timothy, and then Titus. You're doing 2 Timothy 1:7. Lacey will help you remember the 1:7. I need a Joshua 1:9 right there. And then Madeline, I think you were the third one, Romans 8:31. So just hold it there because we're not going to come back to it towards the end, okay? So just keep that place. Okay, one thing before we hop in, because I'm so excited to be here, one thing I just ask from everybody is that if you were up here, I know I would sit and just listen attentively out of respect for you. So I would just ask, would you please do that? You can push pause on any side conversations just for a few minutes, because I really think tonight can be really helpful. No, I mean really powerful, like life-changing. It has been for me, and I know it can be for you. So if you wouldn't mind, just push and pause on any side conversations, and we're going to get started. So welcome to our series, The Oscar Goes To. I will be your host for this evening. And let's get right to the awards. Okay, so it's award season coming up for the Oscars. Tonight's category is 5 most scariest movies of all time. Okay, so to start off with, number 1 is, here we go, The Wizard of Oz, right? So you just take a scary-looking lady, paint her green, and it's terrifying. It is absolutely terrifying. And I think about that. That is somebody's grandma back in the day, and they were terrified to see Grandma. Like, we're going to see Grandma. Like, I don't want to see Grandma. She's terrifying. So that's Wizard of Oz. Next one is Megan, right? Which is kind of like a better-looking Chucky doll, I guess, like a female, better-looking Chucky doll, and terrifying. I do not want that anywhere in my house. The third one is It, which is the scariest 2-letter word in the dictionary. It's just it. That's it. That's terrifying, right? Okay. 4th nominee is A Quiet Place, starring the man from The Office. It is so good, but not if you want to sleep at night. Then it's not so good. And to round out our top 5 scariest of all time, it's a little bit of a wild card, but it's that guy playing Captain America. It's just terrifying. I know he's Kurt Russell's son, but still no. All right, so, which is weird because Kurt Russell is Star-Lord's dad. But anyway, so it's kind of weird. So we're going to now have the winner for the scariest movie of all time. Can you give me a drum roll, really? And the winner for scariest movie of all time is... Yes, that is it. Hannah Montana. That is terrifying. It is so terrifying. I know this is pre-mullet Miley, but it's still a terrifying movie. I don't recommend it at all. That's why she's saying, shh. It's like scary, like, shh. Like, she's going to hurt people. So don't watch that movie. It's terrifying. All right. Now, for real, the real Oscar goes to, in our series, Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And here's what you need to know what the Bible talks about, that Jesus, if you know him, put your faith and trust in him, he goes with you wherever you go, that he loves you. And he not only loves you, he likes you. He actually really enjoys being with you. Even in the moments where you really don't want anything to do with him, he's really happy to want to be there with you. And so the scary movie category sets us up for tonight and what we're going to be talking about, which is fear and courage. And I'm no different than any of you. I have my own fears. In fact, if I were to take you back to a movie I saw by myself in the house alone, which I never should have done, I'm scared of these 2 girls. They are twins from a movie called The Shining. And they just hang out in a hallway, and they're terrifying. To this day, I don't like twins. I'm sorry if you have a twin sibling in this room or somewhere else. I don't like them, okay? I can't have you both in the same room at the same time wearing blue dresses. It'll terrify me. So that's what scares me. But let me tell you also what really scares me. I'm sometimes afraid of trying new things because I'm afraid to feel or look stupid. And I don't feel like I can handle looking stupid. So that scares me to think about someone thinking I look stupid. I'm sometimes afraid of the uncertainty of my future and all the unknowns, and that sometimes can really scare me, not knowing that. I'm not fully convinced all the time that God's going to take good care of me as I get older. I sometimes fear not being accepted. And so I want to people please because there's this part of me that derives my self-worth from how other people feel about me. And if they're not feeling good about me, or I think they don't feel very good about me, then I don't feel very good about me. So I fear being rejected, and there's a part of me that really just needs everybody to like me, and it's really hard if they don't. I sometimes fear death, and not just dying, but how I'm going to die. Because there's some part of my brain that's like, Adam, you can't handle dying, and you can't handle you can't handle suffering. So I'm afraid to want to suffer, because I don't think I can handle it. And I don't know if you noticed this, but all of my fear comes from a belief that I have. All of it. Every fear that I have comes from some belief I have. It doesn't come from something external. It comes from something internal, and that's what drives my fear. Because if you follow the rabbit hole down, if you feel afraid, if you were to follow the rabbit hole down, so to speak, to where that's coming from, it's coming from something up here. But you're like me. You think your fear is coming from out there. It's the twin girls. It's something out there. But really, if I followed my feeling down far enough, it's because of something I'm believing in my head. Your thoughts will fan into flames fear. What you believe to be true will fan into flames your fear. That's what will give it life and breath. So tonight's message is going to be, how can we feel fear and be courageous? How can we feel afraid and be courageous? So in just a second, I'm going to show you a movie clip, which is like one of my favorite all-time movies. I say it's the best movie with the worst name. It's called We Bought a Zoo, and I love the movie. And this very short clip, the context for this is a father and a son having a conversation. And the son, who's in high school, likes this girl in the movie, and he doesn't know how to approach her. And he's afraid to how to talk to her because he thinks she's cute. So this is him and his dad talking about that.
You embarrass yourself if you say something. You embarrass yourself if you don't.
You know, sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage. Just literally 20 seconds of just embarrassing bravery. And I promise you, something great will come of it.
What I love about this is insane courage and embarrassing bravery. Insane courage and embarrassing bravery. I want that. And I don't want just 20 seconds of it. I want years of that. Insane courage and embarrassing bravery. So, how many of you know yourself well enough to know you could use a little bit more insane courage and embarrassing bravery? I mean, just raise your hand if you're like, I could use more of that. There's a lot of us, most of us in the room. Okay. How many of you would like in this year, this new-ish year, to start giving in less to your fears and being driven by those? How many of you like to give in less? All right, that's a lot of us. Okay. Let me ask you this. I want tonight will go best if it's like interactive and transparent. So you guys being transparent with me with whatever you feel okay and safe to do would be really awesome. So let me ask you this. What are you afraid of? I'd like to hear from a few people. What are you afraid of? Rejection? Yeah. Yeah. Lobotomy? Like the class where you take apart, I think that's what, I didn't pay attention in high school, but there we go. Yeah, what are you afraid of? Failure. Yeah. Paying attention. Yeah. Spiraling, like in your thoughts? Yeah, that is scary. Yeah. Losing. Talking to strangers, yeah. Being a disappointment. Would some of that be to yourself or to others or both, a mixture? Okay, yeah, thank you for guys for being so transparent, yeah. Not what? Not being enough, yeah. Yeah, loneliness. Thank you for sharing so honestly, Macy. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 Yeah, that's real. Did I miss somebody? Yeah. Yeah. Don't want to be embarrassed. Sure. What are you afraid of? Trying to make new friends. That can be a scary thing to try to do, huh? Yeah, right here. That trying to be like someone else. Yeah, good. that is, I've been there. It's not easy. Yes, right here. Anxiety. Yeah, it happening again, right? Yeah. It's okay. You want me to come back to you? Oh, I got it. You got him? Trying to be myself. Trying to be yourself. Be in your own skin and be comfortable. Yeah. Sam? What are you afraid of? Yes, and they're real. They are out there. I've seen the movies. Hey, guys, I just want to say, wow, what an amazing youth group. See how real you guys were and just transparent? Like, that's really beautiful. Shows that you guys care about one another, that you'd feel safe enough to do that. I can relate to just about everything you guys said. Let me ask you this, and I won't be able to get as many responses to some of these, but do you think there's ever a time where it's good and helpful to be afraid? And if so, when? When would it be good to be afraid?
When there's actual physical danger.
Like an actual dinosaur out of nowhere, or bear. Yes. Yeah. That would be a really good time to be afraid. Real quick, I was in a car with my buddy in high school, pulled up to a stop sign. My buddy mouthed something to the car next to him. They were on my side. He was on the passenger side. He pulled up, rolled the window down, and pulled a shotgun out and aimed it at my face. And he said, "What did you say to me?" And I was like, just terrified. And my fear, I think, helped me because I just remained calm. I did not say anything stupid. My fear was like, you need to survive this, and that means just showing respect. And I said, "I'm sorry, I didn't say anything." And they rolled the window up and drove away. There are times to be afraid where it can help save your life if there's a real, actual dinosaur in the room. Now, when is fear not helpful? I think sometimes some of you answered some of that. When you're trying to meet a friend, make some friends. Fear can work against that. When is fear not helpful? In a business meeting. Yeah. Your dad told you all about that. He knows those business meetings. Yeah, that wouldn't be. It's not always super helpful if you have to stand up in front of your class, right? Not always. When else could fear not be as helpful? Do you have your hand up? Yeah. Oh, so good, Luca. When you're trying to get something out, fear can keep you from getting it out, even though it'd be really healthy and good to get it out. Yeah. Yeah, just having a conversation. That can be very intimidating. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, what do you have? Trying to be yourself. That can prevent you from being yourself, right? When you just let it take over you. Anybody felt that? Fear just kind of take over you. Yeah. Yeah, really good. So stay with me, guys. Stay with me. Here we go. Let me ask you one more question. You raised your hand that you want to be more courageous, some embarrassing bravery. Let me ask you this. Can you become more courageous without experiencing more fear? What do you think? Yes or no? Here's the thing that courage works. Here's how it works. Do you need courage to do something that you're not afraid of? You need no courage to do something you're not. I know friends. I'm terrified of spiders. Terrified. Especially mayonnaise eating spiders. I would never go near one. And they're real. Oh, they're real, Sam. More than a velociraptor, I tell you that much. So, listen. How much courage did it take me to get up here tonight to talk in front of you? None. Now, if you would have went back to 9th grade Adam and told him he would be doing this, he would have freaked out, because that's exactly what I did in speech class. Freaked out. I was terrified. How many of you, it would take you courage to have to stand up here and give a 20-minute sermon or 25? Yeah, it could be pretty scary, right? It didn't take me any courage to do it. I'm not afraid of it. So here's the thing. Here's what you guys need to know. Listen, you cannot experience courage without fear. They're a package deal. They are a package deal. They go together. Meaning, if you don't ever want to feel afraid, guess what you won't ever get to experience? Courage. You won't get to experience courage. And if you sincerely want to be courageous, we may have to realize, we might have to live with and experience and face and walk through and let ourselves feel some things that we don't like feeling, which is afraid or insecure. Feeling afraid is not evidence that you don't have courage. So be encouraged by that. Fear is not evidence that you are lacking in courage. Feeling fear makes you human. It makes you part of humanity. It makes you part of God's creation. Fear, if you can think about it this way, actually opens up an opportunity for you to unlock and unleash the courage you have in you. Fear provides you the way. Fear provides you the opportunity for the courage that is inside of you to be unlocked and unleashed. So don't think if you're feeling afraid, you're doing it wrong. It may just be because you're human, even if you're a Christian. So, 3 important things to know about fear. Take a picture of the screen if you need to, if it'd be helpful. 1, experiencing fear is normal and occasionally helpful. If it's an actual bear, fear goes, get out of here, and you run, and that is good, okay? Living and giving into fear repeatedly is also normal and not helpful. And to reiterate what I said before, what we need to remember is your fear is being created by your belief, not by the circumstance you're in. It's how you're choosing to view that circumstance that's giving you your fear. It's not the twins in the blue dress itself. It's how I'm choosing to think about those 2 kids that's producing my fear. Because some of you saw them and you went, I can take them. You're like, I can do that. But me, I'm like, I ain't going to that hallway. If that's where the bathroom is, I'm holding it. Or I'm going in the car like Eve does. I'm just doing that. Whatever it is, we got that. I've spent most of my life believing lies and holding on to thoughts that made me feel insecure and afraid. And you know what that's done in my life for most of my life? Caused me to miss out on a lot of fun. If I could just be real frank. Giving in and living in my insecurity and fear and not letting that be seen as an opportunity to unlock my courage has caused me to miss out on a lot of opportunities. Some of you are going to miss out on an awesome opportunity at winter camp because of your fear. You're going to miss out on a wonderful opportunity to have fun and let God change your life because of your insecurities. Hey, and that's normal. I don't shame you for that. You don't need to beat yourself up for that. But you need to realize what's happening. Your fear is going to keep you from experiencing maybe some deliverance from fear. So where does fear come from? It comes from 2 places. I think, Kel, you have 2 Timothy, is that right? 1:7. If you want to get ready for that, friend. And when you're ready, do you want the mic or do you want to just yell it out? Here you go, 2 Timothy 1:7. You got it. Thank you so much, Kellen. In the ESV, it says, for God has given us not fear. So I'm talking about where it comes from by telling you where it doesn't come from first. It doesn't come from God, but it does come from somewhere. So I'm going to tell you the first place it comes from. A spirit of fear can come from our adversary, a.k.a. the tempter, a.k.a. not a weapon from Russia or a really racist group, a.k.a. There we go. The deceiver, the Satan, the enemy of all Christians, the one who came to steal, kill, and destroy. He can give you a spirit of fear upon your life. And sometimes you can open up a spirit of fear by dabbling things in the demonic, in the spiritual realm. So one place it can come from is our adversary. The main place it comes from is the second place, ourselves, our brains, our beliefs. That's the most prominent place that fear comes from. Not from the outside, from the inside, and it gets projected upon something on the outside. That group, that person, that opportunity, that camp, whatever that game is at youth group, whatever that is. Now, fear is the brain's way of warning us that it doesn't believe we can handle feeling afraid. So your brain on like some subconscious level is going, you know what, I don't think you can handle doing that. That's going to be scary. I don't think we should do that. And all these conversations are happening in your brain that you may not even be aware of. And it's going, I just don't think you should do that. I think you're going to look stupid. So we get super afraid. And so we go, well, I'm not doing that. I can't handle that. So in a sense, your brain is trying to protect you from experiencing something it doesn't think you can handle experiencing, which is fear and insecurity. But do you know what? Did you know you're fully capable of experiencing fear and insecurity? Because you know what? You experience it all the time, maybe every single day. And you're doing fine. I mean, it's not awesome. I don't want to feel any of those things, but you're more than capable of handling it, but your brain tells you you're not, so you need to avoid anything and everything that'll lead to that. That's how our brains work. So fear is the brain's way of trying to protect us from harm. So here's where the brain can get it a little screwy on us, is your brain kind of thinks everything's a bear and everything's going to kill you. So getting up to speak, your brain's going to be like, oh, you're going to die. You're going to die. I mean, we'll even say things like that. Oh, if I had to do that, I would die 1,000. How many deaths? Have you heard someone say that? I'll die 1,000 deaths. Your brain's like, you're going to die. I swear to you, if you have to do that, if you join the worship team, you're going to die. If you share your faith with a friend, it will kill you. Don't do it. It's just your brain trying to protect you. But it's just because it thinks everything's a bear. But singing is not a bear. It will not kill you. Getting up to speak is not a bear. It will not kill you. Winter camp is not a bear. They have moose there that really could kill you. So be very, very careful. Be very careful. That's real. It has happened at that camp multiple times. All right? Nobody died. Nobody died. All the middle school boys are running after. I'm like, you idiot. No, you're nice, but don't go near the moose. Don't do it. So here's what your brain will do because it thinks everything's a bear. It'll say like this to you. If you do that, you're going to look stupid, so don't do it. You can't handle looking stupid. Or it'll say, hey, if you wear that, someone's going to make fun of you, and you can't handle anybody making fun of you, so don't wear it, so just put it back in the drawer. So you just put it back in the drawer. I'm not going to wear that. Someone may not like it, and I can't handle people not liking what I'm wearing. If you say yes to sharing your faith, they may reject it. If you say yes to inviting someone to youth group, they may say no, and you can't handle someone saying no, that's rejection. Don't do it. You see how the enemy works along with our brains to keep us trapped into not staying with ourselves and being comfortable in our own skin? Now, occasionally there is a bear, but here are some common things our brain tells us are bears that will kill us. Feeling embarrassed. One of you mentioned that. Feeling insecure, public speaking, singing on the worship team, sharing your faith with a friend, going to a new school, lovingly confronting someone who you have unresolved hurt with. Don't do that. Don't do that. You may die. Being single for another year, opening up about what's really going on, setting a boundary with someone who steps all over you, saying no to your peers when they pressure you. You can't say no. What's going to happen? Fasting screen time, being alone, missing out, being rejected, not fitting in. Your brain tells you all those things will kill you, and none of those things will kill you. They just won't. But it's trying to protect us. So we just need to realize what's going on inside of us, and we need to realize we have an enemy. See, our brain means well, but our enemy doesn't. Our enemy actually just wants to steal, kill, and rob us of joy. And some of us come to youth group and we don't engage, and we get robbed of joy. He steals joy from us because we don't engage. We don't put ourselves out there because we're not comfortable in our own skin. And trust me, I'm 46. I've spent about 45 years not feeling comfortable in my own skin. I get that. At least from my own perspective. And I missed out on a lot of fun because of it. And I'm determined to not miss out on any more. So from the beginning of time, God's people have been dealing with fear. So much so, it is so common. The Bible talks a lot about fear. And I want to show you a graph of how often fear shows up in the Bible. Genesis through Revelation. Okay? So, you can see Genesis, Exodus, a lot of scary stuff happening. There are slaves to Egypt. Fear goes up. You get over here, Joshua and Judges, they're having to conquer things. Fear is way high. Some of this is the fear of the Lord, but some of this is like fear of other people. Psalms and Proverbs, you see a huge spike. One, because they talk a lot about fear in Psalms and fear of God, but also just fear of scary circumstances they're in. It starts to peak when Jesus comes on the scene because Jesus has a lot to say about fear. So you see fear spiking, but people who are afraid of Jesus too. So that goes up. And then, of course, the end of all times, Revelation, it spikes again. So you can see fear is really prominent all throughout the Bible. So if your life has a lot of fear in it, welcome to humanity. Welcome to everybody in the Bible. So let me ask you a question to ponder. Because I ponder this about certain people out there. Why is it there are just people that don't seem to be afraid of the things you are afraid of? I curious about those people. How come we all know someone who's willing to put themselves out there in a way that we're just not able to? Have you ever met those people that just seem to be so much more comfortable in their own skin than you? I have met many of them, and I'm like, I want to be them so bad. The person at the car next to me who's by themselves and just singing as loud as they possibly can with no embarrassment, I'm like, I want to be you so bad. How can I be you? Because I'm always like, is anybody looking? It's country, I'll turn it down because people know that. But if it, but then once no one's around, I turn the country back up. I'm like, why can't I just sing country and not care? I want to be like that person who's just comfortable in their own skin. How many of you want to be more comfortable in your own skin? You want that? Raise your hand. Come on. Be comfortable in your own skin to put it up there. There you go. So many of us. So many of us. So what are these people doing and what can we learn from them? Well, I want to learn from 10 people in the Bible, 8 of which you've never heard of, and none of us have, and 2 of which parents name their children after, okay? So here we go. Real quick. In the story in the Old Testament, they sent 10 spies into a land to scout it out because God told them to take that land. So they sent 10 spies, go figure it out, go check it out, see who lives there, what they're like, come back and give us a report, okay? I'm going to read to you the report that eight of these people came back with. And it starts off pretty good. It says this. This was their report in the book of Numbers. It says this. We arrived in the land that you sent us to see. So far, so good. And it is indeed magnificent country. Woo, a land flowing with milk and honey, which was super positive back then. All right. Here is some fruit we have brought as proof. So they bring back fruit. Everybody's like, oh, this land is great. This is so awesome. But then there's a big but. A big but. Here's what it says. But the people living there are powerful, and their cities are like fortified and very large. And what's more, we saw giants there. They're huge. Everything's big. Have you ever noticed when you're afraid, everything's big? Everything's bigger. I bet you they saw like 3 tall dudes and were like, dude, everybody's a giant. They saw one town with one wall, and they're like fortified cities everywhere. I bet you the story got a little bit exaggerated by the time they made their way back home. And everything is because that's what fear does. And I noticed in my teenage, middle school years, everything was the biggest thing of all time. And then when I got into college and as an adult, I was like, oh, that was really small. But my brain made that really big. Why is that? That's a kind of a normal developmental thing. So they made everything super big. So a belief, a thought, remember, our thoughts come from not the big city or the tall people. They come from how we see the big city and the tall people. They start up here. And fear can often come from a belief that starts with the word but. But, let me find myself. I just saying but now a bunch of times. Sorry. I really do like singing, but if I join the team, but what if I mess up? But what if I don't hit it right? I would play that game, but what if I look stupid or I lose or trip? I would really like to go do this because I really enjoy that, but what if someone says something? But. So pay attention to your thoughts. Fears often start with the sentence that is but, just like it did for them. Now, there was another but in this story, and his name was Caleb. So this is who we name our sons after, Caleb. Right. Here's what it says. But Caleb, who's one of the spies, but Caleb reassured the people as they stood before Moses. He said, let us go up at once and possess it. He said, for we are well able to conquer it. 10 people saw the same exact thing. 8 of them came back and said, no dice. 2 of them, and we didn't get to hear from Joshua. Joshua was one of them. Caleb and Joshua, the ones that we actually name our children after, they were like, we can do this. Same scenario, different thoughts led to different feelings. Caleb wasn't giving in to his fear. Your courage can also come from a sentence that starts with but. I may be scared, but I know God is with me. I may feel anxious, but I'm perfectly capable of handling feeling anxious. I may be terrified if I do this or go to this, but if I commit to it, I know it'll end up being a terrific experience. When I went skydiving, I was afraid. But that fear melted away as I fell to the ground. And it was pure joy. And the joy I felt, the fear I felt, didn't come anywhere close to the joy I felt free falling. Unbelievable. I'm so glad that when fear came, I let it unlock and unleash my courage. Joshua, who was with Caleb that day, here's what God said to him, Joshua 1:9. Who has that? Right here, Jake.
It says, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go.
When I read this, do not be afraid. I want to be like, don't tell me how to feel. How dare you? I'm terrified. I think God gets it. But there's also a reason why. Because he said, I'll be with you wherever you go. Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. The Oscar goes to Jesus because he's way better than a gold statue, because he's actually alive and active and in your life and moving and with you wherever you go. Can you imagine if you began to hold on to the belief that God is with you wherever you go, what you could do, what you could walk into with your fear? Because you're with God and you know it and you believe it to be true. And you don't just need to go there with God, you need to go there with you. You need to stay with you. How is this possible? Who's got Romans 8:31? Here we go. Thank you, friend. This is such a great verse.
What shall we then say to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us?
If God is for us, who can be against us? I want the audience participation on this one. You're going to say, if God is for us, who can be against us? It's going to be on the screens. Throw it up there. Here we go. When it's up there. Ready? 1, 2, 3. If God is for us, who can be against us? Let's say it again. If God is for us, who can be against us? Isn't that a more helpful thought when you're trying to let your courage get unlocked? Some of you may need to just memorize Romans 8:31 and put it somewhere. Save it as a screensaver on your phone. Add some wallpaper with it somewhere. Do something. See, your enemy, the enemy that we all have, Satan, he can't actually keep you from being courageous. And actually, your friends can't prevent you from being courageous. The only person that can prevent you from being courageous is you. That's it. You're the only one that can keep yourself from being courageous. And I have kept myself from being courageous for too long, and I'm ready to change, and I hope you'll join me with that. So, some things to remember. Fear is an opportunity for your courage to come out. Fear is an opportunity for your courage to be tested and strengthened. Some of you were afraid to stand up during the worship song because it felt weird, because it was just, you didn't have any people to look at, and you got afraid, you got insecure. That was an opportunity for your courage to be unlocked and your courage to be unleashed as you got yourself to stand. And you know what? You flexed that courage muscle long enough, and did you know you can actually just literally not be afraid anymore of that thing? Yeah, you may still have some other things you're working on. I'm no longer afraid to come up here and talk to you guys on a Tuesday. I'm just excited about it. That's because I've been working at that for so long. I've been working at it. God help me. Help me to work that muscle. That is actually something you can do. You can do that. You really can. Fear is an opportunity for your courage to be tested and strengthened. So let me ask you this. What do you need to believe in order to be courageous? What do you need to believe in order to be courageous? If the current thoughts and beliefs that you have are leading you to fear, then we need to dive into that and figure out what it is that we're believing. Romans 8:31 could be something you can at least hold on to, memorize, internalize, ponder. So if you want 20 seconds of insane courage and embarrassing bravery, you may need 20 minutes of just sitting down and processing your feelings. What am I feeling and why am I feeling it? What am I feeling and why am I feeling it? What is driving this fear that I have? Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And what then shall we say in response to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? So, in closing, we're going to end with some songs. I think the first one is No Longer Slaves to Fear. And what I'm going to invite you to do is to take your first step to be courageous. All of our adult leaders, would you please get up right now and find a place where you could pray with somebody? Just go stand somewhere. Maybe this is the first thing you need to do. You just need to muster up the courage to go to one of your leaders and do what Lucas said to do, which is confess something. I'm afraid of this. I need help being courageous in this area. And like Lucas said, your fear can prevent you from doing that. But remember, if you feel afraid to do that, that's your opportunity to work out your courage muscle. That's your opportunity. So God, open us up. Grow us. Grow us, Lord Jesus. And thank you that you were with us. And as we listen to this song and as we worship and as we pray and as we confess, may you change us tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.